You're disciplined, productive, working harder than ever. So why do you still feel empty and exhausted? Now, Jocko says discipline equals freedom. Goggins preaches discipline or destruction. And Tim Grover says discipline separates winners from losers. Yet despite following all this advice, nearly 80% of high-performing men secretly admit they still feel empty and unfulfilled. Here's the missing piece they never talk about. After coaching over 3,000 successful driven men, I found the real issue isn't your lack of discipline. It's discipline without direction. And it's what I call empty discipline. And in this video, you'll see exactly why traditional discipline advice falls short, how it's quietly draining your motivation, and a clear, proven 4-part framework to finally reconnect your hard work with the life you desire. But first, let's quickly identify how discipline without direction is secretly sabotaging you right now. Now, you've been sold the promise that discipline solves all your problems. Just wake up earlier, squeeze in another workout, push harder at work, and you'll finally feel successful and fulfilled. But if discipline really was freedom, why don't you feel free? Why does each new goal or habit or routine fade after a few weeks or months? Why do you keep ending up back where you started, feeling stuck, restless, frustrated, or overwhelmed? Because here's what you must understand. Empty discipline feels good at first because it lets you avoid facing what's really missing in your life. On the outside, brother, you look productive, you look successful, you look driven. But inside, that empty discipline quietly sabotages you. It drains your energy. Every day feels like a grind, like not purpose-driven. It strains your marriage. You're physically there, but mentally checked out, always chasing more, never feeling enough. And I know this because I lived this reality. For over a decade, I believed more discipline would fix everything. But instead, it almost cost me everything. My health, my relationships, my happiness, my joy, my purpose, my fulfillment. And I found myself pushing harder, feeling more distant than ever, and thought I was on the verge of an actual burnout. Until I realized I didn't need more discipline. The real problem was something deeper. And once you see it, you'll never look at discipline the same way again. So how do you actually know if you're caught in empty discipline? Well, after coaching thousands of high-performing men, I've identified there are 3 critical questions that reveal where you stand. The first question you've got to unpack is, does your discipline have clear direction? Now, right now, you might be doing all the right things. You might be training hard, you're working productively, you're adding in the right habits. But if I asked you right now where your discipline is taking you in the next 3 years, could you answer it in one clear sentence without hesitation? Why are you just being disciplined because that's what disciplined men do? Like, pause here for a second and just think about it. If you can't clearly articulate exactly where you're heading and why, discipline has become your mask. Now, the second question goes a bit deeper. Does discipline energize you or drain you? Discipline should fuel you, not exhaust you. So if your daily routines feel forced, if it's a battle to meditate for 10 minutes or write that daily message of love, you're probably masking something deeper. For me personally, I got stuck in this trap because meditation for me felt really hard. And I kept telling myself, I'm just not a meditator. I'm the guy who needs to be moving. I always need to be doing something. But the truth was, I was stuck in empty discipline. And when I solved this problem, when I got clear on my true direction, the meditation, the journaling, all these forced habits, this empty discipline disappeared. It felt natural. It felt powerful. It now feels effortless. And then the third question, which you have to answer, is this. Is your discipline strengthening or damaging your most important relationships? Real discipline builds stronger marriages. It creates deeper connections with your kids, and it gives you a clearer purpose in your life. Empty discipline does the opposite. It isolates you, man. It makes you feel distant. It makes you feel disconnected, worn out, even though you're doing what you think are all the right things. Now, here's the uncomfortable truth. If I asked your wife to rate your presence at home on a scale of 1 to 10, what number would she give? If your discipline isn't clearly bringing you closer to the people you love, it's masking confusion instead of creating connection. So take an honest look here, brother. These aren't just theoretical questions. What I've learned over the years is that the most ambitious men aren't even aware they're trapped in empty discipline. And the cost is enormous in your energy, your relationships, your happiness, and your fulfillment. But here's where things can shift. The moment you recognize that discipline has become a mask, everything changes. You'll free up your energy. You'll deepen your connections. You'll experience the true desired outcome and fulfillment that you've been looking for. So how do you break free? Well, it starts with understanding the root cause. Because empty discipline isn't random. It's driven by a hidden crisis I call the drift. Right? The drift occurs when the man you are today slowly moves away from the man you promised yourself you'd become, your highest potential. So think of empty discipline as the symptom you can see. The drift is the underlying disease silently pulling you off course. Now, the way to look at it is imagine a compass where your true north is your highest potential. Every time you practice empty discipline, your needle moves just 1 degree off course. Now, at the time, it seems insignificant, but after 6 months of daily 1 degree shifts, brother, you're headed in a completely different direction while thinking you're still on track. And this is precisely how the drift and empty discipline silently hijack your life. And when this happens, discipline doesn't serve you anymore. It becomes your default distraction. It feels easier to chase productivity than face the harder truth that you're running in the wrong direction. And this is the real problem. You are disciplined. You are working hard. You are seemingly doing all the right things. But with each productive day, you're moving further away from who you truly want to be and what matters most. Your marriage, your family, your purpose. What makes this especially dangerous for men like us is that we're highly resilient. And so when something isn't working, we don't quit. We double down, we push harder, we never give up. And that's precisely why empty discipline isn't just ineffective, it's destructive. So how do you break away from empty discipline and get back on the right path? Well, the answer is really simple. It's this: clarity. But I'm not just talking about the run-of-the-mill, I know what I need to do clarity. The clarity I'm referring to here is clarity of identity. This means knowing exactly who you want to become and exactly why that matters. It's answering the uncomfortable questions many men are quick to avoid, because discipline without direction is just another form of distraction. You see, when clarity of identity is locked in, discipline not only stops feeling like a grind, it ensures you're moving in the right direction. You wake up energized, you're driven by clear purpose, you're fully present at home. You're engaged, you're connected, you're the man your wife and family deserves. Your days become meaningful again, not just busy work. And your confidence is real, man. It's not this shallow bravado. Now, I need to be transparent with you here about my own journey with this. The hardest part for me wasn't building discipline. I had that down pat. The hardest part, though, was admitting all my discipline was a sophisticated way of avoiding the truth. I didn't know where I was going or who I really was anymore. Now, that admission felt like failure at first, but it became the turning point that changed everything for me. Because sometimes the strongest thing a man can do is acknowledge where he's lost clarity. And brother, this isn't random or guesswork here. It's scientifically proven that clarity before discipline creates a neural shortcut that makes willpower virtually obsolete. And I've seen this happen over and over again, coaching thousands of driven men to break free from empty discipline through this level of clarity. So how do you transform directionless hustle into aligned, purposeful discipline? The answer lies in a complete reframing of what discipline is meant to achieve. And that's why I created the identity code system. This is your proven path out of empty discipline and into a life of clarity, fulfillment, and ultimate performance. And here's how it works. The first step in the system is clarity. It's getting clear on what you want, why you want it, and who you need to be in order to get it. And this is where 90% of men fail because they skip straight to discipline. The second in the framework is optimization. Not just creating systems, but eliminating the psychological friction that makes discipline feel like a constant battle. This is where you eliminate decision fatigue and maximize your energy. Now, the third is discipline, building consistent habits that align with your true direction. When the first two components are in place, discipline then becomes your default state, not your daily struggle. And then the fourth is engagement. This is where the real magic happens, brother. Showing up fully present in every moment that matters because you're no longer distracted by the noise that's been holding you back. Now, if you're just beginning this journey, I recommend you check out my free clarity framework video that I've linked in the description below. But if you're ready to transform your approach completely, the Identity Code Bootcamp is your next step. This is where I personally guide a small group of men through this process each month. And the link to get on the waitlist is in the description below. So listen, if you're recognizing that discipline without clarity has been your struggle, don't see it as a failure, brother. see it as a breakthrough. Like the most successful men I've worked with weren't those who never drifted. They were the ones who recognized the drift earliest and had the courage to correct course. And so I want to close on this. It's one thing to be stuck in empty discipline, but if you're not clear on the drift and how it snuck into your life, you'll continue chasing solutions to the wrong problem. And that's exactly why I created this video for you right here. Stay strong.